Welcome to Figure Feedback. My name is Jeremy. Today I'm going to be trying out a slightly different type of resin. Now this is from Chi2 Systems and this is their Conjure Rigid resin. You can find it in this 1 kilogram bottle, metal bottle, for between $31 and $36. I've seen it for around $31 on their website, about $36 on Amazon. Just shop around for the best price. But what makes this particular resin a little bit different than the others that I've tried in the past is that this one is designed specifically for more mechanical parts and functional parts, things that you would normally use an FDM printer for. They say that you can use this resin to replicate those things, and since it is resin, you'll be getting a nicer, smoother finish. Now you can still use this resin for figures like miniatures, sculptures, statues, things like that, but they sell a couple different variations of this specifically for those things. So over here on my computer I got a couple of them pulled up. So they have their Conjure Tough resin, which is designed for figures and miniatures. It's non-brittle and it's tough, and you can mix it with other types of resins to make it even stronger. And then for sculptures they have the Conjure Sculpt resin, which is going to be tougher than normal resin, but is going to allow you to maintain a lot of those finer details. So depending on what you want to use a tough resin for, they got a few different varieties for you. So I haven't figured out exactly everything that I'm going to be printing with this resin, but I'm definitely going to print something that is more functional, which is exactly what this resin is supposed to be used for. All right, so let's fast forward in time and see what the results are. So this here is a miniature vise, and it also has this table clamp attached to it. This is a design that was originally meant for FDM printing with filament, but all the parts I was able to print out on my Resin 3D printer instead, and it even has these 3D printed bolts to be used in place of metal bolts. Now the only non 3D printed part that I had put in here was this one little screw right here on top, and that was just to make sure that this didn't slide around. But what I like about this resin is that everything printed out really smoothly and nicely, and I didn't have any failures at all. And as you can see, as I kind of take this screw out, you can see the white residue that's on it, and that's from all of the continuous grinding that I've been doing with it. But even since the very first time that I went to attach this, I haven't had any problems with the sizing or the parameters being off. You see how smooth that just sort of went in like that? And that's been my experience all around with printing different parts that need to fit together with this particular resin. So this tabletop here is thin enough to connect this vise to. So I just kind of put it right there, sort of line it up a bit, and then just tighten it down. And then also have this little screw piece right here that if I turn away from me, you see like this part is getting closer and closer and closer. So let's just grab a random miniature here. I'll just put that down in there, start tightening it down. Now the miniature is held in place. I mean, it's a vise, it's how a vise works. But as you can see, it's a lot of grinding, it's a lot of moving, and it's staying put, so that is a good thing. They also say that the objects printed from this resin can be drilled into without any problem, so I'm going to try that. I've got a drill, and it's in a spare piece that I accidentally printed 2 of. But let's just drill through this. I managed to drill almost clear through to the other side, but you see there's the residue from it. There's the hole that I made. Almost made it through to the other side, but not quite. So I can keep going to make it through to the other side, but I think that you get the point there. You can easily drill into this, and it doesn't wreck the entire model. So that part of it works. And then the other thing that I printed is this drill guide, and this is used to drill in walls at specific angles. So this was comprised of about 4 pieces, I believe, and they all went together really easily. Down here, you see that you have the degrees of the angles that you can drill into. So you got the 90-degree angle all the way at the bottom, and it goes all the way up to 30 degrees at the very top. So you see at the very bottom, it's at 90 degrees, and then I just move this mechanism on the right and it moves this arm up. There we go. So I can move the arm up into the various different degrees. I can stop it wherever I want, and the arm stops there. And then you're supposed to put a little nail or screw in at the top in order to keep this piece right here from falling out. But once you do that, you're able to angle wherever you want. This is going to be on the wall, and then you just stick your drill right in there, and then you'll be able to drill at the appropriate angle that you want. So I thought that this was a very neat little application as well, all printed from resin, even though it was meant for FDM. My experience with the Conjure Rigid resin has been really positive. Everything that I printed out came out perfectly. All the pieces fit together nicely. I haven't had to force anything together. And surprisingly, the smell is not bad at all. It is a very low odor. It's one of those types of resins where I walk into my garage and I'm not blasted in the face by resin fumes. So that is always positive. One bit of a downside though, when it comes to using black resin, any black resin, not just this one, is that the pigments are so heavy. When it comes to cleaning up, you might have to use a little bit more isopropyl alcohol than usual when it comes to cleaning up your work area, because when that black gets on something, it wants to stay there. So it just requires a little bit more diligence when it comes to cleaning up. But as far as it performs, it works really, really good. And I am really happy with this resin. And it's also really great to have a resin that is dedicated to more mechanical things, engineering, prototyping, stuff like that, because there's a lot of really, really talented people out there that can make their own designs and they want to print them out. And if you want to print out multiple things, the great thing about resin is that you can put the same parts or multiple different parts on the same build plate, and everything is going to be printed at the same time. So if you wanted to print everything that you saw in this video and you have a printer that has a big build plate, then you'll be able to print 2 or more of them at the exact same time, and they're going to be finished at the exact same time. And that is one advantage that it has over FDM printing, because since everything is being printed all at once, it's going to be done faster, depending on your printer, of course. And the overall finish is another advantage of using resin over FDM, because if you want to have something that's going to have the highest visual quality, then resin is definitely going to be the way to go. So if that's what you're looking for and you're making things that are more mechanical in nature, then this is the type of resin that you can use to give you that performance while at the same time having it look good on the outside too. Even though I didn't show any figures in this video, I have used this resin for something figure related that I'm making another video about, and that one is going to come out not too long after this one. So if you want to see what this resin can do as it pertains to the world of collecting and action figures and collectibles, then be sure to subscribe so that you can see that video. I think that one's going to be pretty cool to see. So that's all, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Till next time, take care of yourselves. I'll speak to you soon.